One of our viewers asked a question that many of you have, and that is black a valid color to use while you're painting? This viewer is talking about everything that he's seeing on YouTube. People are saying, don't ever use black. It will just muddy up your colors. And other people saying it's okay to use black, and all these theories. Well, these conflicting ideas about black come from our history, because the Impressionists dropped black, whereas that school of the academic school that did continue to develop alongside the Impressionists, continued to use black. But the Impressionists dropped it, and then they taught their students to drop it. And so there was a whole generation of artists, a couple of generations of artists, that evolved thinking black was the wrong thing to add to your colors. Never add black to the colors. But that's not necessarily a good idea. Now, I want to show you my take on black as a color. So, first of all, I've got black here. Now here's the deal. Black by itself, used to darken a color, is a bad idea, because black is going to dull the color if you use it just for darkening a color, and there's where that one comes from. The other thing that's a bad idea is to mix black and white as your gray and paint the gray itself into your painting. That has no color in it, and so it's going to conflict with other colors around it in most cases. There'll be some expert that'll be able to pull that one off, I know. But let's just say as a general rule, probably not a good idea to do that. However, you can change other colors. You can expand your options with colors by adding black to them. I'm going to show you a few possibilities here, and just to get you going on playing with this idea. So, for example, alizarin crimson. Okay, so we all know alizarin crimson. It's one of the oldest colors that artists have used. And we're all familiar with how alizarin crimson looks. When you add black, here I am doing it, when you add black to alizarin crimson, you create this marvelous, almost purplish color. Now let's show you what that looks like on the canvas. It's hard to see because it is so dark. And of course, the proportion of black you put to the proportion of alizarin is going to give you that range of this deep ruby red sort of. And let's see here if I can make that thin enough. See there? See how nice and wonderful that color is. Now I'll put a little alizarin beside it without the black right here. I'll get it spread enough so that you can see. You see there? Okay, there's the alizarin without the black, and then here is, of course, the alizarin with the black. And thin that out enough so that you can see the difference that, or you get the options that black can give. I'm going to add just a little bit of solvent to that to show you. There we go. Show you what a wonderful, rich color you can get when you add black to alizarin. Now, of course, when you're working with that, if you add white to that, it's going to change the character of the color. But I'm going to do that just briefly. So add white in here to this black mixture and show you just one value of what you get when you add white. So you see, you get this sort of a nice, dull purple, sort of nice dull purple that that can add that maybe ambience to something that you might be using in painting something that's in that color area. All right, so there's one thing, and we could go on and on. We could add various other colors to the alizarin mixed with black. You do that. I'm just getting you started here. Now I wanted to show you also another option. We all are familiar with ultramarine blue. So I have ultramarine blue here. Just put this down, a little bit of ultramarine blue here on my palette. And this time I think I will give you, let's thin it just a little bit so that you can see. Let's get ultramarine blue. This is what ultramarine blue looks like without having anything mixed in it. This is I thinned it just a little bit so you can see it better. So it's a nice blue that we use for many things. Now let's see what happens when we add black to ultramarine blue. It will change the color. That's what black does. It changes the color. It kind of acts like its own blue in a way, but it changes the color and leans the color in almost another pigment direction. Now what we get here is what some people refer to as Payne's gray. Of course we can get varying degrees of that, but it's it within itself. Here we go, right here. You see that? A nice Payne's gray. You could also call that almost an indigo blue. And again, adding the varying degrees or changing the proportions between ultramarine blue and black is going to give you different variations of that. So one other dark color I want to get you started on, in case you want to explore adding black to your colors, is my Rembrandt Viridian. You could also do this or use the phthalo green. Phthalo green and phthalo blue do wonderful things when having a bit of black added to them. So let's do this is the Rembrandt Viridian, which is the dark, I'll do it right up here, the dark transparent Viridian, unlike the other Viridians. So it is thinned. That pretty much tells you its local color. Now look what happens when we add a little black to that and get a total change in hue. Add a little black to the Rembrandt Viridian. Let's get this brush cleared out here so that we can give you a true idea of what happens here, and you see what we get there. Let's get that a little bit more solid in that so that you can see. There we go. See how a rich, dark, shadow type green. Of course, again, the proportion is going to change the character. So these colors don't give you dirty color. This is to answer a comment that our YouTube viewer made, asking this question about what's my take on black. These colors don't dirty your color if you don't use black as a color, as a value changer, but use it as a color changer. Now one last one I want to show you, which is sort of fun to work with, and I might mention that we actually started out our video lessons, our online lessons, downloads and DVDs. We actually started those out, the lesson 1, series 1, lesson 1, we started using black with yellow to make green, which is a lot of fun to do. So I'll just take Hansa Yellow Light here, and I'm just going to take a little bit of black and mix it into Hansa Yellow Light, and we see that we'll get ourselves an olive green. Now I'll just go ahead and paint a couple of strokes. Okay, let's do the yellow first right here, just to show you this is fun, just a fun thing to do, just to have a limited palette of 2 colors and white, the black being one color, yellow being the other color, and the white being the one to lighten those 2. So there's this Hansa Yellow Light pretty much by itself, and then here is a green that we made mixing black with Hansa Yellow Light. So you see, you can even mix black in with yellow to create a different color, a different kind of olive green. So I think if you'll find that if you'll play with black as a mix, as a color that you add to other colors to change them, and play with that, you'll discover that black does have a place on your palette. It does have a place in painting, and using black the right way can actually explain all of your options. And so if you enjoyed this quick tip, you might also enjoy our video lessons, full-length lessons on our site dianemize.com. We have downloads and DVDs exploring all different options for painting and composing paintings. And also leave us a comment right down here. If there's something you'd like for me to explore, let me know and we'll be happy to address it. And there's your quick tip.